Welcome to the Vectorfy demonstration and training video. Just wanted to say a big thank you first for coming here. You've already made it this far in your journey as an internet marketer, business owner, or entrepreneur, which is no easy task. I'll be trying to make your life a little easier and more profitable today by showing you how to use a tool that would become the absolute centerpiece in your search marketing arsenal. This tool literally cuts to the bone of how a search engine operates. I'm going to be showing you how to use the tool and how to implement the results to get the best rankings and quality scores for your websites. I'll be showing you how to set up campaigns for both SEO and PPC. So what exactly does Vector Phi do? Simply put, it makes your websites relevant to search engines. So when somebody is searching for a term, the engines know exactly that your page is highly relevant to the term the searcher just entered. How does it do this? A search engine not only looks for the exact keyword the searcher entered to be present on your website and in the right places, they also look for the other closely related terms that are associated with the search for word. And that makes sense, right? Everything else being equal, like keyword in the title, alt tags, URL, etc., and a few links, everything would look pretty much the same. Site A mentions web design, for example, 5 times and has 60 links. Site B mentions it 6 times and has 55 links. That's not such a foolproof way of saying which content is more relevant and deserves a higher ranking. It would just mean you could mention the phrase 100 times and get to the number 1 spot. And back in 1994, that used to be how it worked. You would have pages of horrible content with the keyword used sometimes literally hundreds of times on the page. This was a big problem for users and search engines alike. So the clever people at the top search engines of the day figured out another way. They came up with a calculation or algorithm that basically looks at every word on the page and then calculates the probability of each of those words being related to the search term. So now they could rank sites that have a higher relevancy much higher and push down the sites that are just trying to game the system by stuffing keywords into any place they will fit. So the more highly relevant words you use in your content, and less non-relevant terms you use, the more your website will fuse with these calculations and rank higher, a lot higher. This is why Wikipedia ranks so well. They have laser-relevant content. They use all the industry terms and each page is absolutely focused and on point about the topic in question. They don't start talking about how good their company is or mashing lots of topics into one document. Every page is a microcosm of relevancy, and that is what you need to do to rank a web page. This isn't guesswork either. We don't think this is how a search engine works. It's an industry-accepted fact. There are tons of patents and hundreds of papers that have been written about the topic. Ask any data retrieval expert, and they will tell you these are the facts. And this is where Vector Phi plays its critical role. It's able to find the top 800 relevant words for any search and show you the exact amounts you need to use each word to rank. So now I'll show you the tool and explain each main feature and benefit. I'll start with the pricing structure so you can select the correct package for your needs. The packages cover set number of credits per month. Each credit covers the full optimization and research for one page on a website. That includes all the Moz metrics for the top 10 sites for any search, vector data for all sites in the competing top 10, multiple filtering and data export functions, up to 800 highly relevant vector keywords to optimize your content, and the correct amounts to use them, plus the tools to make sure your content is a perfect match for the algorithms and a handy text tool to help write your content. So once you have your account set up, you can log in here. And here you will see your account settings. It's best to change your password right away to one you can remember. You can also get your affiliate link if you want to promote Vector Phi or track any commissions you have already earned. To get started, just navigate to the Vector Tool tab. Here you can see all the main settings, which I'll show you now. The first text box is for your keyword. Just enter whatever you want to rank here. The next region box is for the location of the market your site serves. Each region will have slightly different results, so it's important to use the correct one. If your site is truly global, select the region that receives the most traffic. The next 3 text boxes are for your URLs you want to optimize for. You can use these to test various versions of your optimized content at once, or check the relevance of any other sites of interest. your competitors, other pages on your own site, or whatever you want to see relevancy data for. Sensitivity slider. This function is used to help clean the results if necessary. The tool can be ultra-sensitive and can occasionally pick up stray words. It's usually best to leave this set to 1 and filter any stray words manually. But if you're in a rush, you can turn this up. The more you turn it up, the less results you'll get, but the more likely they are to be relevant. This also works in combination with the Clean Results function. This is set to on by default. But if you have a really tough niche, you can turn it off to uncover a few more relevant words. Number of results. If you're just quickly getting some relevant keywords to give to an article writer, this can help with speed of use. Just set to 50, export the words, and send to your favorite writer. Simple. That's it. Just hit action and let the algorithm process for about 40 seconds until the results are displayed. Any longer than 60 seconds, try refreshing your browser. Every time you press action, you'll use 1 credit. Except if you've already used the same keyword in the last 24 hours, in which case the credit is automatically refunded. So now I'm going to show you exactly what you are seeing. It can be a little overwhelming the first time you see the data, but it's really quite simple once you get your head around it. There's a lot of data here, so if things take a second or two, please don't get frustrated. This is an entire 3-dimensional view of the whole SERP, and over 3 million calculations are run to get this depth of vision. It will be your best friend in search marketing, and with application and drive, you will absolutely dominate your market. I'm going to go over the non-relevancy based factors first. I'm sure most of you will be familiar with these kinds of metrics. There is nothing groundbreaking here, but it's all good stuff to see in one place, and will give you an idea about the state of your competition at a glance. First off, we have SERP position. That's the position the site is currently ranking for the keyword from a neutral IP address. Next up, we have Moz rank. Moz rank is basically like PageRank, but is updated more often, and it can be used as a trust or authority gauge. It ranges from 1 through 10 and gets exponentially harder to increase the higher the number gets. After that, we have Moz Trust. This is another at-a-glance metric for assessing trust. If a page has a lot of links from high-authority sites, then this number will be higher. If you only have spun content links from Web 2.0s, then don't expect a big number here. Page and domain authority is a 1 to 100 point gauge for how much authority you have managed to build up. Again, this looks at your link volume, link sources, and social factors to give you a score. Then we move on to page links and domain links. This should be fairly self-explanatory. This metric is not massively helpful on its own, mainly because not all links are created equal. 20 high PR links would be much more powerful than 100,000 forum profile links, for example. But used with the trust and authority signals, you can get a reasonably decent idea of what sort of websites you're up against. If you want to know more about these metrics, I'll include some links below. Now we'll move on to the good stuff, the part that you can use to boost your site's ranking, increase your quality scores, and more. To start, I'm going to turn off all the graph data, as that can seem a little confusing until you know what you're looking at. So if you look here, you can see a list of words on the left-hand side. This might just look like a simple list of words, but what they are is the key to amazing search engine rankings. Using them shows the engines that your site is the most relevant, the most useful to users, the most on point about topic, the most authoritative and deserves the highest ranking, all things being equal, of course. It also shows you who in the top 10 is using which words, along with a pretty good estimate of how many times you need to use each word to perfectly match the current algorithm and rank your site. You can see that element here. It's the blue background bar graph. So you will need to get your content to match up to that graph in a natural way. It's a smart idea to miss out the odd word and keep the frequency under the graph slightly. You don't want it to seem too perfect or spammy. Anything you do in SEM should look natural just to be safe. I always start a site at 25% optimization and work up. 7 times out of 10, a 25% optimization will be all that's required. And why push the limits if you don't have to? If that doesn't work as expected, you can always get more aggressive. Here I'll show you how on some Wikipedia sites. This is a good strategy to follow. You see, not too perfect, but highly relevant at the same time. Now it's time to export your list of words so you can use them in your super optimized content. You can use the sensitivity if absolutely required, but for homepage content and main website pages, it's best to keep the default setting and manually remove the odd stray word or two. If you have a lot of e-commerce sites in your SERP, you can check the Knockout Web Words box. This will remove common commerce and web words that can show up, like shipping, cart, Twitter, YouTube, etc. It's just a slight nuance with the tool that those words can also get included if a lot of e-commerce stores are present in the results. Now you have your list of words. For SEO, what I like to do is plan the content using ideas from the list. You can find subtopics to create subheadings about. So for example, with our obligatory dog training content, we can look for subheading ideas. I can see here puppy, obedience, clicker, and maybe Cesar Millan. From that, I could write these subheadings. Teach your dog or puppy how to sit and heel in under 1 hour. Problematic dogs need obedience training for a happy life. Use a clicker for faster dog training results. Train your dog like Cesar Millan. There, you have already used 16 highly relevant keywords, and they are just the subheadings. You now have some focus and can start using the rest of the keywords. Using our text tool makes this process a lot faster, which I'll show you in the next video. You can also include any long-tail keywords you are actively trying to rank. Here is a really important note. If you vector optimize existing SEO page content, then we highly recommend a fresh rewrite of the whole page. If you just add in a bunch of relevant keywords and nothing else, this won't look natural, and we have seen mixed results when doing this. Also, as the engines notice this tactic more, it will become less and less effective by just adding in relevant keywords and nothing else. So a fresh rewrite of the whole page with the increased relevancy is the recommended practice for existing pages. Don't forget to let your new content settle for a few days to a few weeks to see the full results. For PPC content, there are 3 main strategies you can pick. All work great in different ways to increase your quality score. 1. Use the SEO content. This will still boost quality score across the board, but is a bit less reliable and less precise as the other methods. 2. Find the top 5 to 7 ad groups and use each ad group as a theme for each subheading in your content, and write 100 to 200 words about each ad group's theme for the paragraph. You will then have a pretty complete document that is relevant to your whole campaign. This is the best strategy if you only want to use one landing page for that campaign. The content will probably be 800 to 1200 words for the whole campaign. 3. The same as the last strategy, but you write one smaller, more targeted bit of content for each ad group. Run the tool for each ad group and write a super relevant, highly concise outline of each ad group's general theme. Content should end up around 100 to 250 words per ad group. Add each 100 to 250 word bit of content to a separate landing page for each ad group. This is a good strategy if your ad group's more isolated in general themes. Here is a little tip. Relevancy breeds relevancy for closely related terms. Just try a search for dog training and then for puppy training and see how similar they are. You can use that to your advantage. It makes optimizing a document for multiple closely related terms very easy. This is how and why you start ranking for far more long-tail search terms when using super optimized content. We have seen sites rank for hundreds of long tails and pull in traffic from terms we didn't even try and optimize for, just by harnessing the very nature of search relevancy. Now this part is really important. You want to be using a lot of these keywords. A minimum of 100 different keywords for easy to medium niches, and up to 300 or more for tough niches. This is the biggest and most important thing you need to remember. The more relevant keywords you can use, the better you will rank and the higher your quality score will be. I just quickly want to mention links. If your site is new or ranking on page 10 or lower, there is a high chance you will still need some links. Vectorfy can gain around 30 to 100 positions per keyword, and a keyword depth increase from around 10 keywords in the top 20 to over hundreds, the combined total gains can be in the thousands of positions. But if you're still really far down the results, I suggest acquiring some high PR links from a reputable source and build them slow. If you're happy doing gray hat stuff and know what you're doing, then I have nothing against it. I just find it's a lot more risky and prefer to stay with a lower total link count from better sources. Just search around for high PR links. And like any business move, do your due diligence on the seller. Check reviews and talk to them on the phone if required. Poor link buys can cost you your entire site, so be careful. This strategy is also immune to algorithm change. This is the heart of how search document retrieval works. There's no other way to do it, off-page factors being equal, of course. It can and will be refined, but the elastic nature of our tool instantly responds to tweaks the engines might make. So if you do see your site slip, or there is a published update that reflects relevancy, just run our tool again and use the new results. The tool's very nature is 100% immediately responsive to any change made in the search algorithms. How does it do this? Vector Phi uses the mean average data from the top 10 sites at the very moment you use it. So if the algorithm does change, the top 10 sites will change to reflect the new tweaks. Then once you rerun the tool, fresh data is gathered from the new sites that gel with the new algorithm more, and you can tweak your site to match. This is real power. Once your content is set up, it's time to add it to your site. For SEO purposes, this is straightforward. Just add the new content to the page and wait to be re-indexed. We don't advise pinging the site or using an indexer, and recommend letting the engines recrawl it naturally. This is just a safety precaution, but feel free to ignore it if you choose. The process is very similar for new PPC accounts. Just add the content to your landing page. Don't forget if your page is conversion sensitive, then you can partially hide the content using scroll boxes. So it's there if a user wants to read a more in-depth article, but if they just want to buy your product, they won't see the whole content. You can optimize sales pages outright, but it does take a bit more time and thought to be relevant and make the content sell at the same time. For SEO, it's a good idea to keep the content visible and just use it like normal content. You want people to be reading SEO content. The reason it's advisable to keep it out of the way for PPC is expensive, and you want your offer as bold and loud as possible. This is how the engines want it: non-commercial content for organic search and commercial traffic for paid search. It's fine to make your PPC landing page with commercial intent, but for SEO, you want to look non-commercial by having high-quality long articles, but still have your offer in there. For PPC optimization of an existing campaign, you will need to copy your entire campaign and set up a new landing page copy with the new content on. So for example, if your traffic is usually going to landingpage.html, then copy the page and call it landingpage2.html and add the new content to the new landing page. The reason we do this is because your existing landing page will have already been analyzed and will have its own quality score history. That needs to be reset by having a brand new page. Then we strongly advise copying the campaign that will use the new content using the AdWords editor. This is essential for 3 reasons. 1. You'll actually be able to see the changes. 2. You'll still have the old campaign as a fallback, and you won't lose any crucial data that can help you make decisions in the future. And 3. AdWords accounts are very sensitive to large changes to existing campaigns. So if you suddenly change the landing page on every ad, it can shock the system and give unpredictable results. It will, of course, also reset the data you have accumulated back to 0, so you will never be able to see your old ads data, which is very helpful to keep. Adding new campaigns doesn't have this effect, and you can easily toggle between the two if required and see all past data. This is an important step. If you are unsure, please rewatch this section. If you are still unsure, submit a support ticket, and we'll be happy to give you further assistance. Vector optimization is only really required for brand new PPC campaigns, or PPC campaigns with poor quality scores. If your account is already performing well with above average quality scores, then it's best to leave them as they are, or just add the relevant content to the existing landing page and let the effects slowly build up over time. So just to recap on the main points. 1. Research relevancy vector keywords using Vector Phi. 2. For new pages, write content using the vector data. For existing pages already indexed, do a full rewrite or at minimum make major changes to the content, including increasing the relevancy using vector data. 3. Use our text writer tool to help make writing your content easier. 4. For SEO, try and find subheadings, H2s, to group your content by from the list of vector keywords. 5. For PPC, find ad group main terms to theme your subheadings H2 by. 6. The more vector keywords you use, the higher you will rank, minimum of 100. 7. Number of words used is more important than exact amounts the words are used, but word frequency does also help if you have time. 8. Add your content to your website or landing page. 9. Sit back and enjoy the higher rankings and high-quality score. So don't forget to check the blog. There are some more tips and tricks that can help your site get boosted even more, like using the relevancy keywords to naturalize your backlink profile for safer linking, and how to get 30-plus position gains just by using a few extra words in your meta titles. If you're not already a member, click the Sign Up Now button, choose your plan, and start dominating your niche today. Thanks for watching.